In this video, I want to give you 5 businesses that can make you rich in 2020. Let's get those credits rolling. Business number 1 is real estate. As we're getting started in the year, so many people are having New Year's resolutions, and one of the biggest ones that people have is investing in real estate and actually owning their own piece of land. So if you want to get into the business yourself, this is what you need to do. Admittedly, for this particular business, you need to have some capital on the side so that you can be able to make the very first investment. In this country, there are not very many programs that actually help people with ideas to actually get started, and not in real estate at this moment. So you need to have some money aside. Something like $1 million or anything above 500,000 would actually get you started. The key to do this is invest in an upcoming town where there are all the basic services, which is electricity and water, roads as well. Then where you actually purchase the piece of land is not exactly on the main road, because those, as you start and as you will get to notice, is that those kind of properties are usually higher priced. So what you check is that wherever you're buying is not exactly just at the center of that particular town. Those places that you actually want to go to are just a little out of town, 5-10 kilometers out of the main town center, and then not on the main road. So even if you've actually gone outside the town and you've actually gone 5-10 kilometers away from the town, that main tarmac road, the plots or the land that is exactly touching that road is usually more expensive because it's next to the road. You can go 500 meters, a kilometer, or even 2 kilometers away from that road. That gives you a better priced piece of land. The advice I would give is look for a place where you can be able to get 2 acres, 3 acres, anything above that, a whole chunk of land that you can be able to purchase. That's the first step. So the next thing that you need to do is actually go to the lands ministry and get that piece of land registered in your name or in your company name. If you'd like to register your own company, I'll actually place a link up here and you can be able to watch that video. The next thing that you need to do is subdivide those plots. For this, you'll actually need a quantity surveyor who will actually come to the land and subdivide the land into the divisions that you want. I would advise for this, do about 1/8 of an acre. So when you're actually subdividing your land, you will quote unquote lose some land, because anytime you subdivide land, you have to place public land on it. This is your small roads, your walkways, where the people who are coming into that particular plot can be able to use. Your neighbors who are on other plots who cannot be able to access the road directly can be able to use, especially if you're in a rural kind of area. But if you're creating a gated community, then you still need to do the same. So you can place some plots on the right, some on the left if you have just a smaller chunk of land, and then in the middle you'll place the walkways that connect with the main roads. This is just a little technical, but it won't stop you from actually making the profits that you're intending to make. The next thing that you'll need to do is advertise the property that you have, since now when the plots are subdivided, they are eligible to get their own title deeds. So instead of going the second step now and getting title deeds for this new plots that you have subdivided, what you can do is get them title ready, which means that when a buyer now comes and they make a purchase of the particular plot that they would like to own, then when the process of doing title starts, the title is then put in the name of the buyer. This actually saves you and the buyer some time, because there is no deregistering the title and then re-registering it again, they become the first-time owner of that particular plot, and of course you make your own money. The good thing with this is you calculate the costs that it will take you to actually purchase the land, subdivide it, even bring in customers to look at the land, all the closing costs that you have, your lawyer fees, and then from there you can be able to actually project how much you would need to charge. Check with the plots that are around, check with the lands that are around to see the normal cost of land at that particular area. And then when you do that, you can be able to actually make money and get rich in 2020. The second business that you can get into in 2020 that will make you rich is agribusiness. We have had quite some rain in the long rain season, and even as we speak right now in January, there is still some rain here and there. So in order to get into agribusiness, one of the things that you need to do is do your research. It is not enough to just watch a video like this that tells you get into agribusiness. You need to actually do your research, because anytime that you actually sit down and plan and get all the financial stuff down, then you can be able to make a better decision in future. The thing that you really need to watch out for is that you do not just pick a business that has been replicated by someone else, and then you see that so and so has cattle that they're keeping, or they're keeping poultry, and so I want to keep poultry as well. That is not the way to actually get into agribusiness. But if you want a list of 10 agribusiness ideas, I'm placing them up here in the card up here so that you can be able to go and watch this. But here are other tips that will help you when you're getting into agribusiness. The first thing is to see if you can be able to get into the export market. So many farmers are doing either subsistence farming, or they're just doing a little commercial farming where they now just sell to the normal markets, the markets that are around their homes. But if you can be able to check if you can get into export market, that is a place where you can actually make a lot of money. So you can check sites like the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, or check sites that deal with export and import, and see the markets that Kenya actually exports to, or check which crops you can be able to grow at your farm, and check the countries that really love to import them. This takes quite some time, because you will be able to actually see which markets are the best to sell to, how much you can be able to make, so you can be able to make your projections there. Check the global markets to see if those things are in demand. The next thing that you need to do is find a way of getting enough so that you can be able to export. The way export works mostly is you will be able to make more because of economies of scale. It will cost you a little less because there are some fixed costs that are there. So what you need to do is actually make sure that you produce enough scale so that you can be able to offset all the fixed costs that are there, and you can be able to make your money and get rich in 2020. The next business that you can get into is a petrol station. If you want to get rich, you know, people love driving their cars. So there are two ways to go about this, and I'll help you be able to actually see the two options that are available. The first is to become a franchisee. This means that you actually go to a brand which is a known petroleum brand, and then they sell you the rights of actually opening your petrol station with their name. This has its advantages because there are some drivers who always associate a particular brand with the quality that they will be able to get. Even though the owner of a particular petrol station is not necessarily that particular brand, just being a franchisee actually helps you to be able to get some customers in through the door. The good thing again about this is you can be able to get all the manuals that that particular brand uses in order to be able to do the operations that you have. So you don't need to learn anything new. All of it is written down in the processes, in the systems that they have already been testing and putting in place, so you can be able to actually do that from the get-go. So on day one, your petrol station will be operational. You are using the standards that have already been set by the brand name, and you get your customers because they already know that if this brand is the one that is actually opening a petrol station here, then we can be assured that we will get a good product and there are no worries at all. The next way that you can actually go into a petrol station business is going independent. Of course, now with this one, you can be able to keep all the profits that you make from the business, because if you're a franchisee, they may ask that you give them a portion of your profits, which you will agree with them the percentages that you can be able to give them. But if you're doing an independent petrol station, you brand yourself, you can be able to actually grow your own chain of petrol stations. The way that you actually do this is that when you start, advisedly, it would be to go to a place where there are not so many petrol stations. That way you can be able to set a name for yourself. If you go to a place where there are so many petrol stations, there is demand, yes, but at the same time there will be a lot of competition. So you need to go to a place where there is demand, there is adequate demand, but there are not so many suppliers as well. So you can be able to thrive in that particular place. In order to make good money from a petrol station, it would be advisable for you to actually go out and create more services than just the petrol station. If you can do lubricants, you can do engine oil, all these accessories that are required or needed by vehicle owners. You can do a car wash. That is a good business that you can get into that will work really well alongside the petrol station. You can also start a restaurant so that if people are coming to the car wash, they can be able to leave their cars at the car wash, come to the restaurant and eat, and at the same time, before they leave, they will actually fuel at the same place. So these other businesses, the car wash and the restaurant, they do not necessarily have to be yours. You can actually look for partners in this. So someone else is managing the car wash, another person is managing the restaurant. But as a petrol station owner, you have actually built those places, and those places will bring rent income to you. So apart from the money that you're making from the petrol that you're selling, you're actually making rental income from the other services that are being provided at the petrol station, because the petrol station is the one that is actually bringing in customers in the first. Business number 4 is a courier business. This is a good business for you to be able to start so that you can get rich in 2020. And the way that the courier business works, number one thing that you need is actually a reliable client base. So corporates can be able to actually send your organization to do errands. That can be delivery of parcels. That can also be company registration that is needed. All this you can be able to do, even food delivery, and you can make money from the delivery that you're doing. The one thing that you really need to work on in this business is logistics, because when you're starting, you may not have enough capital or a lot of capital the way your competitors have, and you need to actually look for a way of making maximum use of the stuff that you have, of the vehicles that you have, so that you can be able to make good money as you get into this business. The thing that you also need to look at is the equipment that you will use. The equipment here is the motorcycles that you may need to purchase, the vehicles that you may need to purchase, or even lorries if you're going to do long distance courier services. That can be something that you really need to work on or invest in. The good thing with this is that you do not need necessarily to purchase all these items. What you can do is just hire some of them. So you pay the company that owns the vehicle for the use of the vehicle, and as you go on and as you're saving, you can be able to start purchasing your own vehicles, your own lorries, and your own motorcycle. This courier business can actually help you get started and get rich in 2020. Business number 5 is a fast food cafe. It wouldn't be a Mumo video if we didn't talk about. So in order to be able to start your own fast food cafe, all you need to make sure is that you get a good space. That's the first thing that you need to do, because you can be able to even start cooking from your home if you're doing a restaurant, a small restaurant, or you just need a little space at the back to do your kitchen there. So in order for fast food to work, you need traffic. And you need people who will actually come and purchase there, so you can be selling your chips and chicken or smokies and samosas or sausages, whatever that is. The thing that you also need to add there is to do drinks like juices or do sodas as well. Then you need to price yourself well in order to be able to compete with the people with similar businesses around you. The next thing that you need to do in a fast food business is look at how you actually process the customers who come in. So anytime that your customer comes in, the first thing that they do, they order the food and then pay for the food, because there is a small tendency for people to actually just come in and order and eat and then go away, especially when you're doing a smaller business. The bigger businesses, they have enough stuff to be able to check, and people are usually assigned their tables. But if you're really doing a one-man business or you're just starting out, then people come in, they order what they want, they pay for it, then they actually get served. So for then, you can be able to actually make sure that no one actually leaves with your product or they leave without paying. The other thing that you need to really work on is to do the math of how much you are making in terms of food per particular sack. Because this is a fast food, then we are just talking about fries. So a 90 kg sack of potatoes, you need to check how many plates of chips does that do. Then you can either increase or decrease the portions that you're serving, or even the prices that you're doing. But I would advise, before you start with pricing, look at the portions. You can change the amount of chips that you place per plate in order to maintain your profitability. On the side of chicken, whenever you get chicken, you need to check its weight and see how much you are spending per kilo. The next thing that you need to do is divide that chicken into enough pieces so that you can be able to make a decent profit on it. There are some fast food restaurants that actually charge a little more for a different part of the chicken body than a different one, and that is just based on the popularity of that body part and also the amount of money that they expect to make if they sell that body part. For instance, a leg may cost 20 or 30 shillings less or more than a chicken breast. So what you need to do is go down and analyze how much you're making from selling the chicken breast, how much you're selling in terms of quantity for the chicken thighs and all that, so that you can be able to see which one should you increase price, which one should you reduce price, so that you can be able to still make a profit. In order to also make money from this business, do not just do the normal chips alone. You can even work on doing bhajias, you can do lioness potatoes, you can do chips masala. All these are interesting ways of adding to your profits, because when you're actually doing this, when you're doing plain chips and you're doing chips masala, the cost of doing chips masala is incrementally just a little more than the normal chips, but you can set a really good price because this other item will actually be more valued by the customer. A customer who wants chips masala is ready to actually even pay more than the normal chips because they feel that they are getting a special. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mumo. If it is your first time here, this is what you need to do. Subscribe, put the bell notification on so that you will be notified any single time that I do a video on the channel.